be abused by these two guys.
So we're just going to talk about 15 minutes, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A. Panel's going to be about 30 minutes in length, so we'll go ahead and get started. I want to thank you guys for coming to Chackalock, and it's really exciting. Obviously, after all these years, you see with everybody in the crowd, Karate Kid is something that we all adore after all these years. What did you think about the staying power and the fandom that continues for this film even today?
My opinion on that is, you know, the elements of the pop culture elements that come with the movie, this, you know, they sweep the leg, they put them in the body bag, get them in the body bag, catch them flies with chopsticks, wax on, you know, whatever, all this stuff. All that stuff that everybody knows, the crane kick, is you can't sign up, you'll sign up for that any day, but you can't predict that ever. I think that's what keeps the movie relevant from generation to generation. But what keeps the movie grounded is that the story works on a human level for anyone at any age, in any country, in any language. We've all been that kid next door that needed guidance, or has had a moment where they felt bullied, or whether you're a fatherless child in a single parent scenario. It really connects on a human level, and I think that's why it has lasted this long. And then all the pop culture elements of it only is, you know, the icing and the cherry on top. That's my theory.
Bill?
I totally disagree.
There you go.
I think the reason
I
why
was trying to save you.
Thank you. I think the reason why we watch it over and over and over again is because we're all hoping for a different ending. No, I agree exactly with Ralph. I mean, who knew? I pinch myself every time I come to one of these and see. I mean, we're walking here, I'm like, there's gonna be 4 people in there. Like, the fact that this room's packed, there's more people in here than there are in there right now. I don't know what you guys all were sitting at the tables for 5 hours. You know, but, you know, the movie's got such heart, and it speaks on every level. I mean, we were bad guys. He's like the main bad guy, and my character was semi-redeemable at the end. But it's a story, well, for a minute, you know.
Very semi.
I'm trying to take a little heat off of me, but no, you know, it's a story of relationships and humanity and an underdog, which we all root for. So, you know, those stories stick, and this one was just special. I don't know, you can't tell why something just kind of vibrates so right, but this is one of those films that we just did with our whole hearts, and we were just having a great time. And I know Ralph was kind of itching to get on the teachers, and we were joking about the name of Karate Kid. You know, it sounded like a Bruce Lee comedy, and you know, what's this going to turn out to be? And
No one will ever remember the title.
Yeah, you know, you're doing it, you never can imagine it's going to have this kind of impact, but you know, it's really neat to see it last, you know, at least these 5 years. 5, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, we hope it's here for another 25.
Billy's working on the script for the last 5 years where he wins. And no, but honestly, I think the star of this whole piece, it was so eloquently said just now by my friends here, that we didn't know what was going on. I mean, Karate Kid was, right, Bruce Lee title, but I think the real star that made this movie last so long was Robert Kamen, the writer. Because I think he touched upon all these things that everybody identifies with and loves to this day. So I think Robert is really the star of this movie, you know, aside from Billy. And Ralph, of course, you know, wins at the end of the day, which is great. But I mean, the bottom line is that without the written word, none of this would be as memorable as it is today, and we probably all wouldn't be sitting here.
And I guess the next question would go to Billy and Marty. You both played pretty bad guys in this movie, and obviously we're all kind of disappointed because you're pretty nice guys otherwise here in your show and everything.
After years of therapy, maybe.
Yeah, I'm good.
How did it, what was the genesis of kind of creating those characters and becoming those very kind of, at the time, despised characters? I mean, everybody likes your characters, the iconic role that your character was, but then you're also kind of rooting for Ralph, and you guys are just evil guys in the movie?
It took me a long time, probably a long time, maybe 20 years to actually watch it the way you guys all watch it, because I always saw it from my point of view, because, you know, not that I knew I was the good guy, but emotionally I would feel that kick every time, like it was a, you know. But getting into character for this, it was kind of, for me, it was kind of strange, because I was doing commercials. I was acting in milk commercials and Pepsi commercials and stuff as a kid. And I got a call from my agents to go in and play a karate black belt motorcycle gang leader bad guy. I'm like, there's no chance, I don't know karate, I don't ride motorcycles. And I had a couple of scenes to read, and I read them with the director, I read them with Ralph, and the next thing I had the part. And to be honest with you, and everybody, I mean, when I'd only auditioned with one scene. They didn't audition me on more than one scene, and I'd never done a movie before, so I was really nervous. Am I going to be able to play this character all the way through? And the net for that was with the training that came in, and Pat Johnson, who trained me in martial arts, literally built Johnny from the ground up, because I didn't know any martial arts at all. So every day he would teach me the right way, and then he would kind of build Johnny into me. It was kind of a process, and then for the rehearsals and the director and everything, we just kind of got our points of view. And you know, when you play a bad guy, there's like there's a two-dimensional bad guy that you just hate, and then there's hopefully a three-dimensional bad guy that you love to hate. And there's another dimension you can kind of see through their point of view, even though it's twisted and wrong. So, you know, in my point of view, I had to take a point of view and not look at myself as the bad guy, but look at myself as this person who was trained wrong, and this guy comes into town. So I was never looking at it like I was the bad guy in the movie. I looked at it, I mean, really, I knew I was the bad guy in the movie, but like I had my point of view, and that's important to have as an actor. So, I don't know, only now I watch and go, what a jerk. But that's what you do as an actor, is you find your truth in it and make it your own, and it becomes a part of you. So that's my answer. But Marty's really a bad guy in real life and in the movie. So he has nothing.
No, I rob liquor stores, and no, to be perfectly honest, the character I was doing is Sirius Cagney and Lacey, and it was just another heavy for me. And I walked in there and I abused the director because he called me in. I've told the story a couple of times. He called me in the next day after I got the script, and I read for John Avildsen, and I really berated him, and then went right into the scene. I said he was an asshole, and I just, boom, the energy took me right into Mercy is for the Weak here and on the streets into that scene. And I really felt the energy and the anger for this director who gave me a chance to really do a part that I really would have loved to have done with more preparation. And he loved it. Sent me to the producer, I berated the producer, just to get my energy going, and got the part. But, you know, John Kreese was, you have to really embody the character. And, you know, John Kreese, I created a backstory for him, and he was a Marine who unfortunately wasn't allowed to win in Vietnam. And ultimately in high school and in college and all, he was a great champion. And then when he came back, he vowed never to have his Cobra Kai lose under any circumstances, in any competition. And that's where he began. But those are backstories you create as actors, and that's the challenge of becoming, I guess, a bad guy, is to make yourself feel like you're a hero all the time. And Billy hasn't been a hero, so, you know, and he thought he was taught the wrong way, which he wasn't.
Another question I asked, and I'm sure people are really interested in, you guys have any stories that you could share about working with Pat?
Well, for me, you know, that relationship and the chemistry I had with Pat Morita was, you know, something, not only did I cherish it at the time, over the years it became more and more important and more relevant in so many people's lives. It's just one of those things, as actors, you're never sure when you get two people in the room whether there's going to be magic that happens. And with him, there was a soulful energy, a soulful, I use the word magic, I mean, it's probably overused, but it really, there are scenes in this film that are magical. Yes, because they're written beautifully, and yes, because I was the right LaRusso and he was the right Miyagi, but I think there's another element that is out of your control that either happens or doesn't. And I had that with Pat Morita in these scenes and in these roles. He had in these characters, and he certainly knew well before I did that there was a great chemistry there. I just thought, you know, I was just hitting the mark. I was reading my lines. I knew my stuff. I thought I was good in the part. I was trying to be as natural as possible. But he and the, you know, the directors and stuff felt felt like there was something there. You never know until you guys see it whether it catches on. But you know, he knew he was playing the role of his lifetime. He knew it. He knew it at the time, and knew it at the moment he auditioned. If you go on YouTube, you can look up, you know, my audition and Pat Morita's audition. John Avildsen has his own YouTube page. John Avildsen, the director of the film, and you can see our first auditions, and you see the birth of those characters from first cold reading. It's really, you know, quite incredible to see that. And there's plenty of rehearsal footage of all of us. Just before we ever shot the movie, you could literally see the entire movie before we shot it on rehearsal tape. Not the best of quality, but 1983 at the time. But so anyway, to answer to round out the Pat was just, you know, playing the role of a lifetime. He delivered an Academy Award nominated performance, and one of that touches all of us from, I don't know, the age group in here, anywhere from 6 to 60, I'm sure. It's pretty amazing.
Are we going down the line?
We're going down the line.
Yeah, for me, again, when I got the part, it was my first movie, and I met Pat right away, and I knew him from Happy Days, and I was thrilled, and I knew right from the outside. Yeah. He was just such a, I mean, he's such a sweet guy. He was so warm, and I just remember walking with him in the back lot of Columbia where we were shooting and rehearsing, and I said, if you ever see anything I do that I can do better, please don't hesitate to let me know. And so right away, we kind of had this little kind of, he called me BZ, I called him Uncle Pat, you know. I think he took me out for my first Chinese food ever. You know, I was like, wonton soup. I'm like, wow, really? You eat it too. Duck, what? You eat duck? You know, he was super great. And I always tell this story, but it's a good one. And it's the night we filmed, one of the nights we filmed the fence fight scene, and we were doing rehearsals, and you know that scene's pretty high energy, and we're coming at them. And you know, when you're running across the field and doing it in a big master shot, you have all that energy, but to pick it up every single time when you're actually just the cameras are right there and you're not running into the scene and just kind of keep. So in rehearsals, I was doing it kind of, I guess, apparently half speed or half energy, and Pat told me, he said, easy. He says, when you rehearse, you gotta give 150%. Because that way when the cameras are rolling, then it's like bread and butter. And he was right. And so I rehearsed that, and then the scene just got up to like, 10. And I always remember that from him. But he was a lot of fun and super sweet, and I miss him. I know we all do. Kept in touch with him over the years up to when he passed away, and talked to him every Christmas and Thanksgiving. And, just as part of the family. It's too bad he's not here.
It is too bad he's not here. It really is. I did my screen test with Pat, and it was the final one for the studio for Columbia, and it was for Guy McElwain at that time, the head of the studio, and I had to get all that energy up I just told you about, and I did it in the bathroom because I couldn't do it to the studio head, he wasn't there, and then I started screaming at Pat and doing all this, and we shot over the shoulder. He actually helped hold the camera, and I was addressing him, and then that scene in the dojo where you don't show up, it'll be open season on him and you. And we did that scene. And he was so giving and so charming, and here I was a third time reading, for the picture. He got me going because he was so giving as an actor, just a wonderful person. He gave us loose leaves with those pictures at the end of the movie, and after each one, Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3, he would give us loose leaves of photographs that we had taken together, and he produced them. It was wonderful. I was very sad when he passed away because he was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I'm going to go ahead now and open up to questions. Since we have a big crowd, I'm not going to ask you to go to the mic. If you just speak up, just raise a hand. We'll go ahead and start. Want to go raise your hand? I'll call somebody out. Anyone want to answer a question? All right, back there, hand.
I have a question for Ralph. You got involved with Funny or Die. Just want to know how that came about. Any proof to it?
Any proof to the video? Yeah, I'm sure there's a little bit. He's speaking of a video I made for along with Funny or Die called Wax On, F Off. And the genesis of that, I just pitched a few television projects. One to be behind the camera as a director producer, another one to be in front of the camera, and neither of them sold. So I was at a place where I didn't have a gig set up, a project set up. The remake was coming out, and I said to my wife, I can't just sit here and let this movie come out. And, you know, the 2010 remake of The Karate Kid. I just have to be doing something. So I had worked with Todd Holland, who's a phenomenal director of Malcolm in the Middle and Larry Sanders and tons of other great television. And we had developed a project from me years back, and I said, boy, let me just take this idea of what if they do an intervention on a guy who's just the nicest guy, and even his own kids are trying to mess him up so he becomes interesting. And I sort of poke fun at myself on every level. I remember I just see me when I was pitching it to them. We were doing the Hollywood thing, and later that day I pitched it to Funny or Die, and I said, here's the title, Wax On, F Off. They like, where and when? We'll shoot it. What do you mean? We did, we shot it over 2 days, and we carefully put it out. We did like the day before the remake, and it blew up, had like 700 hits by lunchtime the first day. And it is a funny video. If you haven't seen it, it's 4 minutes of the best part of your day. And also Billy did a video called Sweep the Leg. If you haven't seen that, it's great. Great stuff.
And you were also in How I Met Your Mother with the...
Yes, I was in one episode, Billy did like 500. Like 9 or 10. It was fun, it was a blast.
Go ahead.
You mentioned the 2010 remake. I was just wondering how you felt about the fourth Karate Kid movie, next like Killer Swank in it, and then also the remake, which you kind of felt about those not, featuring you guys, that you felt that those were captured.
Yeah, I'd never seen the Hilary Swank film. I've seen pieces of it. I guess it's never held my attention. But I guess someday I need to see it so I can comment better. Whatever happened to her, that's all I can say. 2 Oscars. The hell it must be to be typecast like that. I don't know. I gotta find out what that's like. Anyway, but as far as the remake, the 2010 remake, I'd say this. It is the exact same story in a totally different movie. I think they did a good job for 2010. It felt like a video game fighting, but I think the performances were quite good. Once again, I mentioned the words magic and soul. That's something that the original had that I don't know if you could ever recreate.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Oh, yes. The Hilary Swank movie I thought actually was the best of the series.
I am the straight man.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The remake, first of all, to find out you're in a movie that's old enough to be remade is just, that's the first sting. So, and then it was all kung fu, and it was kind of interesting. They invited us to the premiere. I didn't want to go. Sony sent everybody tickets, and so we went. And it was interesting. Marty and I sat next to each other, and we watched the new Miyagi and the new Jaden Smith LaRusso version, and it was just like watching it. To me, it was just watching a really weird copy with super great cameras in a foreign country. And I mean, even the smirk when the guy comes in, it was just like so bizarre. I was like, what are we watching? And then we at the after party, this sums it up for me. At the after party, we went, and Will was there, Will Smith and Jaden, and we went back to his table, and he's like, oh man, the guys, these are the real guys, Jaden, this is the guy who played Johnny, yeah. And Will's like, yeah, I just want you to know, we were just paying homage to the Karate Kid, we weren't trying to rip it off or a bit disrespectful or everything. I said, I completely understand. He was this, like, I'm doing actually the same exact thing with the French Prince of Bel-Air. I said, it's nothing to take away from your show. It's about me in the valley, and you're gonna love it. That's it, right there.
Well, I remember sitting behind me, and then when I said no mercy in Chinese, we gave him these punches. I said, look at that. And it wasn't me. But the bottom line was, it really did just pay homage to Karate Kid 1. It was never competing with us,
It really only enhanced the legacy of the films we made, because I think more people are watching those films now than they were 10 years ago. It is on someplace in the world right now on television.
And we have someone texted me, we all have dolls, but someone just texted me here, special effects man, that we have a new issue of our dolls. I mean, it's a whole different deal. I mean, like a wetsuit, I mean, and it's quite interesting, and the reason why I mention that is because of the evolution of all of this, you know, all these new things, new movies coming out, but a lot of people were very uptight when Will Smith was coming out with his picture, and I remember going on the air and the radio, Fox Sports, and saying, well, exactly what you just said. It doesn't compete with our movie, it just pays homage to it, you know? And I think we all should be flattered with that, you know? And when we bump into Will and all that, it's always like, you know, I did my research, was I okay? And from a guy like that, it's just wonderful, you know, to hear that. It's a lot of respect.
Gentlemen in the way back.
Was there anything in the film that was improv that you would never imagine was improv?
You know, one scene that comes to mind that was not completely improv, that was loosely scripted, but we added a lot of improv to it, was the scene where Daniel learns how to punch and Miyagi's in the catcher's mask and I'm doing a little Muhammad Ali, whatever that is. The Sugar Ray Shuffle there. That stuff was all because they had other scenes written on how Miyagi was going to teach him how to punch. It had like to do with these bamboo punching things, and nothing ever worked. And literally, the sun was setting. You know, and we had like 2 takes, and he had the basic, you know, all power in 1 inch and make perfect punch and all that. He had that scripted, but then we went into that whole thing where I started dancing around him, and then he scissors locked me down to the ground. And so that was one that came to mind. But there was definitely a script here that was followed, and that going back to what Marty said about the writer Robert Markkanen. So we didn't veer too far because we certainly, you know, the layers in that script were all there. So as far as what scene that comes to mind for me, I don't know about you guys.
That kick at the end was a little improvisation.
Yeah, that whole. I just figured.
Remember, I was supposed to come in.
So what do we try to do?
That jab punch. Anyway, they kept the foot, I guess.
Your kick became legendary in a new movie that we were talking about yesterday, and I've forgotten the name. There was someone that actually did that kick and legitimized it. It was a martial artist, and I've forgotten. It's a new film, but it's now a legitimate kick. You know, and Billy enhanced that enormously, and Ralph just moved in, and Billy sold that kick, and it was so rich. And obviously everybody's screaming and yelling at the end of the movie, and we've all got chills, what's going to happen, and we're all crying at the end. It was the greatest freeze frame of all time, freezing on, you know, Miyagi at that moment after that. But for my character, it wasn't that much improvisation. I think I just love working with our director because so many times you wouldn't be looking and doing things, and then he just come from far away and use the long lens and grab you at different moments when you were possibly talking to someone else, not really in the scene, but just doing something. And John would utilize these moments in the cutting of the film and the editing of the film. And then you'd go see it in the looping and you'd W words, and you don't remember really doing that. But he would steal shots of life that you were doing mostly in the tournament scene. And it was very exciting to watch that kind of artistic activity.
We have time for one more question, I apologize. And then we'll be available all day tomorrow as well to talk to.
Must say this is so cool. Hi guys, did you sustain any kind of injuries making the movie, especially while you had part of it or when you were preparing to train for the film? When you had to yourself?
Good question. I can read that answer with a yes. They weren't intense injuries, but the one that's most galvanized in my mind. No, say it. We blame it on the camera. We blame it on the camera system. No, not with the crane. I worked really hard on that. That always went good. Billy took the most amazing hit. I mean, half of that kick, I get a lot of credit for the kick, but if he didn't react that way, and we were really, you know, we were pretty far apart, just where the camera was, but it was the timing of it that was just so perfect. We shot it a billion ways, the Sunshine Man, it was crazy. But the skeleton fight at the fence that he mentioned, we were probably 2, 3 in the morning, somewhere around there, we were working nonstop, and it was over my shoulder, shooting at Billy, and it was a fake front roundhouse kick, so he fake kicked me in the side, then come around and kicked me in the face, and I could spin around and get onto the fence, right? we were doing the wider shot of Billy, we did that, and we punched in a little bit tighter, and so you move the camera in a little bit, or sometimes, and then we were running for, it was like, I don't know if it was like lunch was coming, or, so they said, well, instead of moving the camera this time, why don't you just take a step forward? This is what the memory is serving. I don't know, I was kicked in the head. So, yeah. So either Billy was moved forward or the camera was moved in, one or the other, but by then we were pushing along, they taped up, they measured off the distance. The camera was here, my face was here, so it was clean on him, and he faked went around and we connected. And that was all I remember after that.
John's like, that was great. He really did. He's like, that was great.
Right, Jake.
Only Ralph and I knew that it was real. Ralph's on the crowd and like,
Yeah, we went home early after that, I guess. And,
well, the lights went off like that.
that was it. And the next morning, I think it hurt that night, but it was the next day when I just couldn't chew or anything, so it got me good in the jaw. You know, that was. But it was just so. I had a couple scabs. If you watch the film, after that, I'm trying to remember. There were a couple of scenes where I had scabs like here that were legitimate. The rest of them, all the black eye and stuff, was all makeup. So. And then once I didn't know, after we did the final fight scene in the tournament, then like about 5 days later, my ribs were killing me. So, because we did kick each other, I mean, here and there. Everyone was COVID, but you know, I mean, it's a lot. You know, I was definitely the 98-pound weakness. You know? And those were long days.
You're forgetting about the fact that Dutch and Bobby would go up to Ralph's door of his trailer and just pummel the door 12, 15 times a morning just to get into that, you know, state of mind of the tournament.
The guy that I fight before I fight Ralph, you know, the butterfly kick guy, he's like a wicked, he's the guy that invented the crane kick, like he's the real deal.
And then Darryl Vidal.
Yeah, and they cut out his point, like we watched it with him not long ago, and I'm like, wait, you didn't get 1 point? I thought you got a point. Well, he did, and when we were doing it the first time, it was my first kind of big fight. And he goes, you want to go half speed, full speed? I said, full speed, you can even, you know, make contact. And one of his kicks was a spinning wheel kick to my solar plexus. Dude, he threw a spinning heel kick to my solar plexus. I thought my whole rib cage just was going to cave in on me. I had a bruise on my chest for like the rest of the time. I'm like, yeah, half speed's good. Let's go ahead. Just slow it down a little bit. I got a long way to go still. If you're my only fight, yeah, full speed.
Do you have anything to add?
Well,
His emotions were hurt a lot.
in the beginning of Karate Kid 2, we had a fight scene, and I would punch. I think I would go over the right shoulder, the left shoulder of Pat Morita, and I'd go through the van. Well, the window was supposed to break, and the special effects man put a charge on the side of the window, and I would go through the van window, and about here, an inch before it was to be shattered, so it appears if you go right through. Well, we did it once, twice, 3 times, and I would lunge, punch, and eventually I just would punch because it never broke the glass, and he promised me it would break. And of course, I trusted him. Boom, camera rolls, right through the glass never shattered, and I went right through, and it's to the top of the movie, and I came out with shards of glass sticking all in my head. And basically, they patched me up an hour later, we did it, it still never worked. So, never worked. So, you know, thank God I wasn't lunging, I was just punching, and the bottom line was, we kept going in. So when you watch that movie, Karate Kid 2, going in is real. It's a real fist, a real glass, and then the next day we shot it coming out, which was just blood. But, you know, you don't know what to expect and things like that, and, you know, thank God there wasn't anything severed. But I think, you know, I have a little atrophy here. The Band-Aid, oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I knew I was coming today to the panel. I just wanted, because I knew you'd ask me that question. So, that's all. But you know, it was just part of the game, you know. It's part of the game.
Thank you guys very much. One more question? All right, great. All right, one more question.
As long as it's a good one.
You have a good one? All right.
We planned this, didn't we? Go ahead, she's my publicist. Yes? Roll cameras.
Have more fun playing Johnny or Greg Toll?
Johnny. No. Well, fun? Yeah, there's no comparison between Johnny and Greg Tolan. Greg Tolan was another good guy I played in. Come Come on, a real question about Karate Kid. That was a real question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
First of all, my take on the remake is horrible. Jaden Smith is too young to be the Karate Kid. The Karate Kid, he's too young to get those emotions, to get the development, the angst of being that age that came across in that movie. So that's the reason why it didn't work the way it does. One of the reasons, second, one of the many reasons. But secondly, why did your character have such a change of heart at the end whenever you were beating this man, you chased him, you bullied him, you just done nothing but into this guy, all you wanted is revenge for whatever he did, and at the very end of the movie, the only thing that said, you sweep the leg, you're devastated because he actually wants to hurt him. I'm like, oh, I hurt him. Then you sweep the leg, you apologize to him, you sort of, I'm sorry, Daniel.
No, that was good. You're confused. You've done too many drugs. That was you'll get it.
Oh, wait, no, you didn't apologize. No, I never apologized. Okay, never mind.
Anyway, thank you for the comment. Any more questions? Last one, go ahead.
No, he doesn't apologize.
I'm playing. No, I'll answer that in a nutshell. I know. No, it's true. You're just mixing a couple of characters. No, I changed at the end, but it's kind of like a peeling of the mask at the very end. During the tournament, we see some kind of unorthodox things that he does, and we're kind of like looking at him like, why are you telling him to sweep the leg? And then I'm beating him up the whole tournament, but then when he says sweep the leg, that's when I see he's, what's up, man? You want me to hurt him? This is martial arts, and that we don't play dirty like that. But then when he says no mercy, and that's the thing he drills into us in the dojo all the time, the way he says no mercy, if you see there's a change even in the way I walk out and everything, it's like, that's the training, that's the autopilot, that's like, the trance in a sense. So Johnny goes back out of trance, and in a way, and it may sound cheesy, but Daniel delivers him for that with a kick. It's like he wakes him up. It's like, wow, thanks for punching me. I actually needed that. And it all happened in a few seconds. Plus the writer wrote that. And I acted it. But that's the truth. I mean, that's how I process it. And it happens in all about 30 seconds in the movie, but when you're on the set for a couple weeks shooting this stuff, it's like you're living it. Like, for the last 2 weeks we were shooting that, actually when we shot the tournament scene, all the Cobra Kais, especially Rob Garrison, get him a body bag, we were really kind of depressed. Like, we're like, why are we so sad? Is it because of, it was the end of the filming, yeah. And we're like, why do we feel so upset?
If we all got something happened, they at least had the film in the can.
Right, exactly. That's exactly right. But we were feeling like sad, and it was coming as if because of when we're ending the movie, we're coming down from this high, and it was interesting because he went and asked his acting coach, and he said, "Well, what are your characters going through right now?" And he kind of explained the situation. He says, "Well, you're living the characters. That's what's going on." So that's it. So we're method actors. Sorry. Yes.
We're going to answer the gentleman's question over there.
Was there any interest to continue to learn karate or any other martial arts? Did this have any interest to learn?
Once they stop paying me, I stop kicking.
Anthony, we go this way. Anthony?